More than one-third of LGBT undergraduate students report having been harassed or experiencing homophobic remarks within the last year. For a lot of you, this may be your reality. According to the Census Bureau, 4% of Americans are a part of the LGBT community, which is over 10 million Americans, and a high likelihood that this is you or someone you know. The LGBT community for years has had to put up with terrible representation in the media. Tropes like transgender prostitutes, homophobic jocks, and predatory lesbians have plagued the community for years, making it impossible to find good representation. How many trans women have you seen on television or in movies? More specifically, how many have you seen that work in some kind of sex work? Transgender women have always gotten the terrible end of the stick when it comes to representation, and for years has influenced the viewers' opinions on them as well. The most common career on TV or in movies for a trans woman is sex worker. This is something that the producers and the directors use to simplify the characters down to one thing. Statistically speaking, over history, trans women have worked in sex work at an alarming rate. And while there is nothing wrong with someone wanting to work in sex work, it is often due to the fact that they can't find employment and are forced into that lifestyle. Of the roles trans women get, if they are not being portrayed as sex workers as a way of degrading them, they are portrayed as someone trying to deceive the public. It is a very common trope in media, seen in things such as the Ace Ventura and Family Guy, that someone will be revealed as a trans woman before having sex with the male character who will then promptly throw up, which leads to the audience feeling as though they should have been disgusted. Trans women aren't the only ones getting bad representation, though. It affects the whole community. One specific trope that tends to appear in teen shows a lot is the secretly gay homophobic jock. According to a study done by H.E. Adams, a psychologist, men who admitted to being homophobic or disliking gay people were more likely to be respondent to gay pornography. Just because a trope is based in fact doesn't make it a good trope. The fact of the matter is that the trope garners sympathy for the bully rather than the one experiencing the harassment. One show that this is present is Glee by Ryan Murphy, in which football player Dave Karofsky harasses Kurt, who is out and gay at the school. For 2 seasons, we see him pushing Kurt around, throwing drinks on him, and even threatening to kill him. But later we discovered it is because he has feelings for Kurt that he doesn't want to confront. The reason that this trope is so dangerous is because it gives young LGBT members of the community the idea that someone is harassing and hurting them because they are hurting inside due to their own struggle. Even if it's true, it minimizes the struggle and makes it so that they may let it happen because they feel it is something that the other is doing out of being scared or even having a crush on them. LGBT people are fed harmful stereotypes and expected to take them as a compliment because at least they're getting something. Another group that has had to endure this treatment is lesbians, who are often portrayed as predatory in media. Lesbophobia is something that runs rampant on TV. You can see it in many different tropes, but more specifically in the trope that they are all out to turn straight women into lesbians. Lesbians have had a bad rap for years. This is due to the fact that women will often assume just because someone is a lesbian that they have a crush on them or want to be with them. Something similar happens with gay men, and the trope is also present in television, but lesbians experience it more. Many media has given us examples of this, but one specifically is Cynthia Rose from Pitch Perfect. Cynthia Rose, in theory, should be great representation, as she is a proud lesbian, woman of color, and is well loved by her friends. But a running gag in the movie that she is constantly touching on and harassing her teammate Mimi takes away from this. Lesbians are not inherently predatory just for liking the same gender. It is only going to worsen the view straight women have of lesbians by putting the idea out there. It makes it hard for people to identify this way and for them to come out for fear of losing their friends. Finally, is it important to remember that just because you see something on TV or in a movie doesn't make it the case. Media is riddled with these tropes and more to paint the LGBT community in a bad light. Hopefully in the future there'll be more examples of good representation so that it may influence the view of those watching it. Always remember that if you think something you're seeing is harmful, rethink it and do some research so that you know if you're seeing is hurtful to someone else.